angle is weird, but I'm gonna go with it and say hello, everybody. This is Margaret, and welcome to the Boboleros podcast, where we talk about knitting, inspiration from the world of fashion, the classical arts, and random drippings from the brain pan. So welcome to the first show, podcast, whatever, of the fall 2023 season. I don't know about you, but it feels like a new year has begun. And it is the season of New Year for those that celebrate Rosh Hashanah. So Happy New Year. And I don't know, it's like a time of renewal. I feel like September is like back to school and back to, life after kind of like summer drifting. Of course, our fall knits, getting ready for the colder weather months. It always feels like such a big reset button, in some ways even more so than the start of the new calendar year. So let's just celebrate a new year. And so on today's episode, I'd love to chat with you about the topic of fall knits. Of course, that's on our minds, on our needles. What are we making? What is inspiring us these days, this season? So that's number one. Oh, sorry, that's the garage door closing. It's such a loud garage door. I don't know. What is it about garage doors that they are just like, the whole house shakes when the garage door opens? Okay, so we're going to talk about, all the fall knits, what's on our needles, exciting things ahead. I also want to talk to you and share some of my haul from the New Jersey Sheep and Wool Festival, which was last week. And just show you a couple of things. And let's see what else. I have a new pattern, Boboleros, and I want to share that with you. And also talk about some good things. So let's get started. First off, I want to just thank the people that have been so supportive of this channel, supportive of the Boboleros concept, which, if you're not familiar, the Boboleros concept is fun, fashion, fabulous. So what does that mean? Fun knits. Fun for me is a knit that kind of goes fast. I'm like not the most patient of knitters. I don't know. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's like going to just be like a super short project, but the patterns that I have been inspiring to create recently have been a little bit more on the thicker yarn side of things. And part of the reason why is because I just think that it makes a statement. And I don't know why it does. Maybe it's the exaggerated stitch. Like when I first started knitting with chunkier knits, I'll never forget, I was inspired by someone I saw wearing this like really fabulous cowl. And it was red and it had this exaggerated reverse stockinette stitch. And I said, what is that? And I stopped her. She was a friend of mine, a knitter. And I was like, what is that? What is that pattern? It was so new to me. And she said it was Loopy Mango. And I was like, I have to discover this Loopy Mango. Of course, I became like a huge Loopy Mango fan, as so many of us have done so many of their patterns, and really loved the impact that those knits made. Anytime I'd wear them, it just, like, people would come up, where'd you get that? How'd you do that? Where can I find that? It was like an instant sensation. Those knits are very, very impactful. So there's something about the thickness, I think. I also like these days outer garments, like shrugs, like little boleros, hence the name Boboleros. It just came from that trajectory of wanting cute little outerwear pieces that go fast, that make an impact. And yeah, so that has also been part of the reason for having the type of fabric that really stays put, that doesn't have too much drape to it, that really molds and conforms to your body. I like that in an outerwear garment. And so, yeah, and okay, so that's the fun part. And then the next F in the Boboleros concept is fashion, particularly fashion from a bygone time. For me, 60s were kind of a time that I really appreciate from a fashion standpoint. I do also appreciate 70s to some extent. Huge fan of the 80s as well. And what I appreciate about that time, especially in the 60s, was the construction of the knits. I loved, just the way that the shoulder line fell, and like just the clean lines, the mod movement with like just a dress which just has exactly the right shaping, a jacket that is so considered, exactly where it stops and where the cuff ends, and like just those details, because it's all about the line, fascinates me. And it is always in the back of my mind when I'm designing something or knitting something. I'm always thinking about the line. And so trying also fashion, I believe, especially on the tails of the COVID lockdowns and the sweatpants, I mean, I don't know, like the sweatpants became such a way of life, and it's so easy. Like sometimes when I go to the airport and I see like just the different fashion choices, a lot of times like people are dressed so smartly and so put together, even for like a long distance flight, and then you'll see like the flip flops and the basketball shorts and the t-shirt, and I don't know, I just feel like that time of flying in the 60s, 70s, it was just such a different time. I was born in the 70s, so I just remember you got dressed up. And so it's like the fashion part for me is also a return to a time of elegance. It's maybe kind of going a little bit against the grain of the sweatpants, COVID, like schlumpy, So that's just personally for me. I just feel when I get dressed up, no matter what I'm doing, I seem to have a better day. Comfort is key, but so is feeling put together. So if there's a way to combine that, especially through the knits we make, where we feel great, where we feel just that put together, pulled together look, but also feel really comfortable in what we're wearing, I mean, that's a win-win to me. Playing in the sandbox of fashion. And then the last thing, fabulous, because I think that when conversations start because of a knit, and they always seem to, like that's the one thing, I've met so many people, strangers, that we would normally probably not have a catalyst for a conversation, but when you wear something interesting that you've hand knit or sewn, and somebody notices that, whether it's because it looks so different, or whether it's because they're a knitter themselves and they recognize it, it's always a catalyst for a conversation. Like yesterday, Maia, my daughter, and I were in New York City, and we went to a fantastic little boutique. Maia saw something in the window, and we were on the Upper West Side, and so we went in and we had just like the most lovely conversation with this beautiful girl named Lindsay, who was working in the shop. She was like 24 or something, beautiful blonde hair, and she was wearing the cutest outfit. And so we started talking about the outfit, and of course Maia was wearing her chunky knit sweater, I was wearing my Barbie bubble wrap, and so she like, oh my gosh, did you guys knit that? Okay, conversation began, and she was wearing, Lindsay, the shop girl, was wearing like, it almost was like a cat suit. It was so cool. So it was it looked like a bodysuit, just a simple black bodysuit on top. And she was wearing it with knit shorts. Like, it had cabling and everything. And they were so fantastic. And she had black tights on and flats, loafers. And it was, she reminded me of Margaret in like those Elvis movies or something. I could have sworn I saw somewhere Margaret wearing an outfit like that, and I'm not sure where it was. It seems to me, like, my mind's eye, like from an Elvis movie, but just such a great, cool look. And so we of course asked, where did you get this outfit? Maia wanted those shorts, and so she told us where, and so we wandered into another boutique to find those shorts. And so it was called Lena Jane on Amsterdam Avenue and I think 80th, or between 79th and 80th. The most wonderful lady we met who owns the shop, and she's a knitter. So of course we get on the subject of knitting. And here's the point, like, you become instant buddies, like, you bond so much. So this is the fabulous part of knitting, is just those conversations. So that was like a humongously long intro, and I apologize for that. I think it's just like so much pent up, like, excitement. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I also want to thank the people that have been knitting the Barbie bubble wrap, and all of you guys that have bought the pattern, started knitting it, bought kits to knit it. It's just been such a wonderful thing, such a treat to see the excitement over that pattern and to see how beautiful your projects are coming out. And especially for this time, this transitional weather time, it's just like a perfect thing to throw on. I have some samples here to show you. But you know, thank you to also those wonderful podcasters like Leslie Friend, who's made one in white and black, primarily white with black accents, which has been like a whole sensation. And Leslie being the inspiring fashionista and just this queen of the neutral, cool, always pulled together vibe. She's made hers, and she's inspired me to call it the Leslie kit. And so many of you guys have been making Leslie's version of the Barbie bubble wrap. Why can't I say that? And it's such a classic piece. I mean, black and white is just always right. So anyway, it's just been such a thrill. And then Tassie Studios, if you haven't checked out her podcast, she's so beautiful. I think she's just got such great taste and style, and I've really been enjoying her podcast and her approach to knitting, and I just so appreciate it. And she's also been making one in a chocolate brown. And so anyway, it's such great combinations, and anyway, so wonderful how we can all have this like shared craft and bond. And so I just felt inspired before we get into the knitting content. Sometimes I share a little piano content, and that's why I'm sitting here today. I am preparing music for a concert next week, and I've looped again back to Schubert, the composer Franz Schubert, for, I don't know, like, it just felt right. And with classical music, I always feel like there's just such a bigger universal message in the music. It's so abstract. It speaks to us each individually in such a personal way, and we really receive from it what we're meant to. The message that it imparts to us individually is specific to each of us. It's kind of like when you find a shell on the beach, you'll never find the same shell again. It's meant for you. And so the message inside the bottle of this music is, for me recently, has been the idea of just get rid of the mutes. The mutes come off. Let's just get rid of them. So to mute something. I wanted to show you this for piano because I will never forget the day. It was 2017, June 4th. And so I was sitting here at my piano and I was so excited because I was about to meet someone who would change my life. And that's a long story. I think I shared it on a previous podcast. I'm not going to go into it. But in any case, it was a musical story. And so this person came in, we chatted, and said, well, okay, play something for me, Margaret. And so this is a person who is an aficionado of pianos. So I sat down to play, and if you know something about pianos, you know that pianos have mutes, these things called dampers inside the piano, and they're, believe it or not, made of wool. Oh my gosh, the mind reels. Yeah, there is so much wool inside of pianos. It's like crazy. The reason pianos make a sound is actually thanks to our good friends, the sheep. The sheep provide the wool, which then becomes felted and tightly packed, which then, like in this teardrop shape, goes around a wooden dowel and becomes what we call the piano hammer. So the reason we hear a sound on the piano is because of the way that this wool meets the string. So they have a moment where they touch, where they kiss, where they have like an exchange, and that produces the sound. Another way that wool is present in the piano is that we have something called dampers. And just like the word suggests, it dampens the sound. So the reason we hear a sound now when I press a note is because the dampers are off the string. Again, those are just felted sheets of wool. And so now we hear a sound, and now when I lift my finger, the mute comes on the string and dampens it and shuts it off. So that's why we don't hear the piano sound. So in any case, this man enters, this like aficionado of all things piano, and says to me, okay, Margaret, play something for me. And so I said, okay. And so I did what I always do, at least at that time. I was so used to this. I don't know why, but it was like I was a little bit, let's just say, I had issues with confidence. And so what I did was I put down the mutes. Like I put my, what you call the soft pedal down, which mutes a lot of the strings, which makes it softer. And I was playing music with mutes on. You know, and so I went into this piece of music and I started playing it, finished it, and then this man says, great, but why did you play with the mutes on? And I said, I did? I wasn't even aware that I had the mutes on. And I was so used to it. And he said, yeah, you're playing with the mutes on. And I said, well, I like it that way. And that began this like inquisition period where he like started asking me like, well, why do you feel that way? Like, why do you feel like this is too loud? And you know what? Over time, I had to really do a little soul searching because I wondered why I was keeping the mutes down, not only in my expression of music, but in other things in my life at that time. I didn't feel like I had a right to take up the space I did in some areas. I felt like as a mom to teenage kids at the time that, you know, their priorities, like, because they were doing dance very, very seriously, ballet, and, you know, my world was just around, like, tending to them, which is, I think, good, but I was taking it to an extreme where I kind of, like, muted my whole artistic expression. I didn't feel deserving of it. I felt like every time I did so, I'd somehow be taking away from them. And it was such a weird mindset, and I had grown so adapted to thinking like that I kept the mutes on in a lot of areas in my life. And the problem with that was that, like, over time, you get so used to it, but it's not like going to heal on its own, because, like, for me, change usually happens, like, I love that quote, either by crisis or choice. And so for me, it's just like boom, like 2019 hit, and it was like a cataclysmic year where everything shifted and went upside down and went crazy, and it was like tumult on like the extreme level. But I think it had to like get to that level of crazy because I had been living so suppressed by my own mutes for so long that when finally the muffin burst from the pan, it was like, oh my gosh, what a mess. So why do I say that? I only say that because I'm programming this very piece, the one that used to be played with mutes. I'm programming it again for a concert I'm playing next week. And this time, there are no mutes on. That's how it starts. Anyway, I just think it's so great when we get to new levels, new seasons in our life. You know, there is a passage that I love, and it's from the Bible, and it says that in our weakness, we are made strong. And I have come to a point where I've learned not to try to shoo away problems, although I still, do. But, it's not like I'm like, hey, problem here, come on over. But I've learned that there is a lesson in there that is kind of like that Ryan Holiday quote that said, the obstacle in the path is the path. Like, you can't go around it. Sometimes you have to go through it. So with that, and the new season, new beginnings, and new energy, I say, maybe some of those words were things that you could relate to. And so maybe this concept of taking the mutes off, whether it's for knitting, whether it's for other things in life, maybe that is something that we can, if it inspires you to take the mutes off something in your life that you want to be more expressive in, I found that to be a good thing to do sooner rather than later, before it erupts and gets crazy town. Okay, so mutes off, more expression, woo, yeah. So we are ready for some knitting content. So let's talk about the New Jersey sheep and wool, because that was last week and it was great fun. So this year I had a totally new experience at the sheep and wool, because for the first time I actually was working in a booth. And it was good practice for me, because in a month I'm gonna be at Cake Palooza for the first time, and like having a booth with a tent and having to like figure out things like merchandising, setting up a tent, like what do you need to bring other than inventory, like where do you put yarn? On tables? Do you put yarn in bins? Do you, like, how does that work? How do you carry all that? Like, I had so many questions. Thankfully, Victoria from Vita Lifestyles said to me, Margaret, you know what? I could use a hand. And if you want to see the behind the scenes, why don't you help me set up on Friday? And I was so happy and grateful for that behind the scenes peek at how you do it. And guys, let me just say that there is, like, hats off to all the vendors, whether it's at like New Jersey Sheep and Wool or the, you know, vendors that come into Rhinebeck or all of your favorite festivals. They are such pros. There is so much hard work behind it that is unbelievable. There are so many things that are like, also, no matter how well you prepare, there are things that you can't possibly account for, like weather, that like you could have a beautifully set up booth and overnight a storm comes and you've got just a tent and like the winds blow your merchandise around, and now what, you know? There are so many variables that I never thought about until I saw the behind the scenes. And it was about 98 degrees on that Friday last weekend. And just to set up in the heat and get things, and it just was incredible, like the amount of work. So if you see some of your favorite indie yarn dyers at these events, or any kind of, you know, your favorite craft people that are always there and always have a smile, make it look so easy, let me just say, from seeing how hard they work, it's massive preparation. And so yeah, I'm just like, hats off to everybody who was there. And there were people that brought sheep, and it was just beautifully done. So I had a great time at the New Jersey Sheep and Wool. And then on Sunday, I was there with my new pattern. And so Victoria and I did a collaboration. And so I supplied a pattern and she supplied the yarn. And so, yeah, we debuted it last week. And so let me show you what it is. You might have seen it already. I've been posting it on Instagram, and Victoria has as well. So this is still, like, the bubble trend has not been exhausted. So this is all I have to say. So this is the bubble hat and bubble cowl, and super easy. Again, I always say with the bubble stitch, it looks way harder than it actually is. This is a 2-color, obviously. The main color is white, and you do the bubble stitch. The way you create this is that on every 6th row, you do what we call the bubble stitch, and you just do it in the contrast. And it creates this like wonderful, like 3D style thing. I did add I've like been thinking a lot about the trim, and the usual cast on and bind off sometimes rolls. And so I decided to use the same kind of trim I've used before in the Coco Bolero. If you've made that, then you've seen this. If not, I have tutorials that come with the pattern. And so this is just a bit of a easy crochet, double crochet trim. If you're not a crocheter, no worries. It's easy to learn. Even if you're curious about it, this is a good project to try it out on. And even if you don't, it's fine to just leave it as a regular cast on, or you know, bind off is fine too. So let me just quickly throw this on and let me show you the look. And I'm gonna ruin my hair, but c'est la vie, c'est la vie. So I like cowls that are not too loosey-goosey, for the reason that I want the warmth to be like a Bunsen burner on my neck. I really like that. So yeah, this just like hugs the neck. And then the matching hat, let me show ya. Fast, easy, quick. I made both in a morning, like, well, ish. Okay, maybe actually one morning for the hat, one morning for the cowl, now that I think about it. But in any case, very fast and very warm. So it was like, yeah, it's like nothing in terms of how much yardage it takes. I was able to pull off the hat and cowl using one skein each. I used my own bulky weight, the Rita Chunky, and I used, and 76 yards, and one skein of each color was enough for both. Now, you might have to play a little yarn chicken, a little bit. I didn't really have to do it much, but if you make the cowl longer than suggested in the pattern, you might run low, but you shouldn't really. And yeah, I just threw a pom-pom on it, and like, I love it. I love it because I finally have a matching set. I cannot tell you how many years as a knitter, and this is embarrassing, like I went through, excuse me as I remove this. Okay, I went through, like, I have this bin of knits near the front door that come out when it's colder weather, and they're assorted hats and mittens and scarves. Not one thing matches. So it's a hodgepodge, and I never had the matching set. And so now I'm super excited because I can finally wear a black coat, a white coat, a blue coat, a yellow coat, whatever coat I, fantasize wearing. This simple black and white will go with it. So easy and fun and very nice, also for gifting and stuff like that. So this will be, I'm going to make some kits for this coming up, and I will be posting about that on Instagram, on the newsletter. If you sign up, you'll be the first to know about it. And just, some quick 2-color knits just to get, the warm weather knitting started. Speaking of upcoming things for Boboleros, I want to talk just a little bit, just mention it very slightly, that the new collection, oh, I'm so excited about it. It's coming up. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, please do so, because in the next week, I'm going to be revealing a lot about it. So in short, it's the Breakfast at Tiffany's collection. This collection, I am timing it along with Cake Palooza, but it's going to be online before Cake Palooza. And then I'll have like some Cake Palooza only stuff there as well. So that's how I'm going to do it. And the collection is inspired obviously by the movie, the iconic 1961 movie, Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn. Even if you haven't seen the movie, it is a collection that is filled with elegance, pops of fun, color pops, like some really wonderful seasonal colors. I can't wait next week to show you the newest iteration of the bubble wrap that I made, and it's like, it's unbelievable. And the color is straight out of Breakfast at Tiffany's. I don't want to reveal too much. I want to keep it a little bit of a secret for at least a few more days, but it's wonderful. Audrey Hepburn, we talked about her already on the podcast. I don't think there could be enough said about Audrey Hepburn, but the epitome of elegance. I absolutely, like so many of you, just look up to her as just a beacon of such, like, not only beauty, elegance, fashion, but just like such a supreme human being. Her heart, her elegance, her loveliness. She said the best accessory that a woman can wear is a smile, and isn't that so true? It's like, anyway, just sunshine and beauty and loveliness on every level. So that is coming up. There's going to be some beautiful new speckled colorways. There are 7 of them that I'm going to be releasing, and each of them has a story. And also there are going to be some semi-solids and tonals, and they're going to be also meant to be as like harmonized in this collection, so you can easily mix and match two colors to make a shrug, a Barbie bubble wrap, to make a Sunday shrug, to make a Coco Bolero. Like, there's so many options for things to make, and so I'm very excited about this collection because it's so near to my heart. And I have also gotten into the fun of accessorizing the knits. Okay, sorry not sorry, I can't help myself. I can't help myself, because once I finished like the knit, I was like right away thinking, okay, what handbag is gonna go with that? So I went ahead and I started carrying a few handbags in the shop. And a couple of things that I was looking for was, number one, quality, because I don't know, you just want something, especially in a handbag. Like, I remember, I think it was Audrey Hepburn that said that, like, invest, if you're going to invest in good shoes and a good handbag. This is at a fairly reasonable price point, but what I like about the quality of it is that it's handmade in Europe, in Turkey. It's designed in Sweden, made in Turkey by a designer named Milo Emily. And so let me just show you a couple of the things, and they are wonderful. They're graphic, so it's like an instant outfit. This is the large tote, and ample room for all the projects. It has, this is the designer Mila Miro by Emily. I don't know if you could see that, but it's got a beautiful lining, like zipped, gorgeous case for lipstick and the stutch, keys and things like that. Yeah, a little thing for keys. And what I love about it is ikat fabric, and so each one of them is special and unique. You're not going to find two exactly the same. And I loved it for the graphic bold print. So this is one tote that I have on Boboleros, my online shop, and like just throwing it on over a pair of jeans. I never was thinking as much about handbags recently, because I don't know, I started like forgetting, because all right, I have this problem. I'm gonna confess to you, I'm so chatty today, forgive me. But if any of you guys have watched Seinfeld, the show from the 90s, like, I know every episode by heart, but George Costanza, the character, there's one thing, one episode where he talks about the wallet. And if you guys know what I mean by George Costanza wallet, you'll appreciate what I'm about to say to you, which is, I have a George Costanza wallet. Like, it is so big, it's like the shape of a hoagie. I kid you not. I keep every receipt, I just shove it in there, okay? And this thing grows and grows, and I have a George Costanza wallet, and I was like, this is hideous, but I'm so used to it. And so, like, this wallet is such a torpedo that I always just keep it in one handbag, and I like, this handbag just goes with me pretty much all season round. Well, over the summer, I started to like see, I was inspired by a few like great fashion people that I know, and like struck by how great a good handbag, I'm not saying like Gucci, Prada, like those top brands. I'm not talking about that, but like a nice designer but fashionable, that you're not like, oh, I spent so much money on this, I have to carry it like every single day to make the most out of it. I'm not talking about like that, but just like a coordinated handbag that goes with your outfit. Oh my gosh, like, so I got a little pink bag, like little. It was so cute. I got so many compliments on it, and it was literally 40 bucks. And I got more compliments on that bag than I ever did on a bag that I spent like 4, 5, 6, 7 times that amount for. And not to say I do that often, but like, sometimes I need incentives, like, yeah, to get through the tough times. Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. It only happened maybe 2 or 3 times in my life where I was like incentivizing myself. Okay, Margaret, if you finish this, if you get to the finish line of this massive project, you can buy yourself that fancy handbag. Yeah. So long story, I'm not going to go there, but I don't do that anymore because I don't see the value in it anymore. I really don't, because I get bored. And why is it that these super fancy handbags, like, they're so hard to get stuff in and out of? I don't know. Maybe I'm buying the wrong ones, but oh my gosh, I borrowed my mother's fancy handbag when I went to Paris, and it was like this, I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous handbag. But with my George Costanza wallet and all the fiddly hardware to get it on and off, and you're like, you have to know the code to open it, you have to know the code to close it. I was like, this is so annoying. And then it rains. Oh, if it rains, now what do you do with this expensive handbag? Now you need a bag for the handbag. So I'm over it. I like fun. I decided my new thing is fun, easy pieces. Look at this one. Oh, this is a slightly smaller version of the tote. I am such a sucker for green. Whoa, and green and black. So this one is just, this one has my number, I gotta say. I'm not sure if there's any left in the shop, but it just, it's fun. It's just fun. It's a good size too, because it'll fit just enough. It'll even fit a couple skeins of yarn in it, but it's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, let me show you a couple more. These are smaller, but they go, like, it's a kind of take on the Chanel style. Isn't that cute? Right? Really good price point. I forgot how much these are, like 100, under 200 for sure. And it's got paper inside, but it's just beautifully lined, beautifully made. It has this wonderful metal strap, you know, great closure that isn't fiddly and goes with everything. You could wear a crossbody if you prefer that, or like the double strap, you know, just easy and a great look, I think. So anyway, so I have this one. This one is also another one of these, like, oh, I have to show you something. I have to show you, like, okay, so let's say it's frosty outside and you put on this hat. You've put on this hat. Now you've got like your matchy black and white ready to go. Ready to go on a snow adventure. All right, next, a couple of things, like, all right, what if you have a nice like evening, holidays are coming up, and you need just like a little clutch. Isn't this cute? And the tassel, these are under 100, I think. And like, oh, scrumptious. I love that green and black. It goes with everything. Like, I don't know, I was like very specific when I chose these because I wanted them to be very adaptable to different things. So, you know, perfect. You put your phone in here, you put like your credit card, keys, fits. It looks so chic. So we have a clutch like this. Some of the clutches even come, isn't this cute, with the pink pops. Big pops. Totally cute. And yeah, this one even comes with a little gold chain. Some of them do. So you can choose to do a crossbody situation, right? Fun. Fun, fun. This one, I like this one. Isn't that nice? The silver with white and another tassellated situation. So, yeah. Oh, this one has a silver strap. Oh, so many surprises. The silver strap goes with stuff. Isn't that neat? Okay. Last show and tell item. This one with the blue. Ugh. There's that Tibby blue that I just go nuts for. So, jeans, ready to go. You're going for a nice little lunch. Throw in your lipstick. Boom. Okay. I don't know if I have all of them on the website. If you like any of these and you don't see them, just message me and I'm happy to help. Okay. I promised I would show you the bubble wrap iterations. So let me show you iteration 1. This is version 1 of the Barbie bubble wrap. I'm gonna put it on. Let me disrobe. Don't be alarmed. I'm not gonna go very far in that. Okay, I don't wanna scare people. All right, this is like, again, easy, and the colors, like this is a 4-color one. If you're interested, I don't have kits on the website right now. This is from the Barbie collection. I'm thinking about maybe bringing a few of these kits to Cake Palooza. I'm not sure if I will or not. It takes a long time to get all the 4 colors ready for me. But if you're interested in it, let me know. And if there's enough demand for it, I will make some. But if not, I'll have 4 colors in the new Breakfast at Tiffany's collection, which will be like a more autumnal color story. But, you know, this is just like so nice to just keep the top part of your body warm in these transitional months and look fabulous. Like I am dressed in, I'm serious, like the most casual look of all. Jeans, right? We all have jeans. We love jeans. I have an old J. Crew shirt that I wear all the time. I got this on clearance like years ago, like 2-3 years ago. I keep all my clothes. I never get rid of clothes. I hardly ever get rid of clothes. I just keep them. And then I got these shoes. These are from, I got these a while ago too, but these are from, I love French Soul. Yeah, French Soul, New York. That's the brand. And every year or every 2 years, I get their ballet flats. And I have been since 1995. Like they are forever. They're made still in Europe and France or Spain, and they're such good quality and everything. But this is a little different style, but you know, it's such a nice, you know, easy kind of shoe to walk in. So, okay, so like how something like a shrug or a Barbie, a Barbie bubble wrap. Bubby. Maybe I should just call it Bubby. The Bubby, how the Bubby goes. Okay, let's see how this Bubby goes. We're just trying on clothes and acting very hyper today. Guys, did you see my new lipstick? I'm going nuts, I'm telling you. Talking about mutes being off, this lipstick I wore to go with this, all right? I have to show you the lipstick. Someone told me about this. I went to get it and I'm like, I would never have worn this in my younger years. But look at this. Is that great? This is called Candy Yum Yum and it's by MAC. It's the same color. It's just so insane. But anyway, Candy Yum Yum. Ready to go, even with this outfit, right? Super great. This is what I'm talking about, like the accessories that make it. Oh, let me show you this. Look. So you got like a super simple base outfit of jeans. Oh, black shirt, okay? Super simple shoes, whatever. And let's just like play. Let's do it with this black and white. I love this one. You know, like, okay, ready for dinner, ready for an evening out to eat, ready for movie night, ready for PTA lunch, ready for back to school meeting, right? Like ready for a work thing, right? Ready for a meetup, like ready to go, whatever it is, ready for a day at the museum. Let's go to the museum. Let's do it all, right? Like, so simple, or even like this, you know, nice, black and white. I love graphics on graphic on graphic, just layering and playing. So that's it. That's what I've got. Oh, wait, I want to show you this. I love this together too. I feel like I'm like talking to myself today. If you guys really can't stand it, just shut me off. I don't mind. I won't take it personally. I'll actually agree with you. Okay. Wow. Like, right? This reminds me of a slightly Mark Rothko situation. Do you guys know the painter Mark Rothko? He did these like stripes, like usually like 3 or 4 colors, stripes, sometimes 2. And it's like blocks of color, but it's like almost like a sunset, the way they fade, or like as we knitters do, we fade, and those colors fade. And there's like a slight fade situation going on here. Yeah, and it's not, what's cool about it is like these aren't like straight stripes. They kind of have a little undulating effect. Some are more narrow and it gets bigger. And I think that's what causes it to be so interesting visually. And again, I just love how this looks. So that's like one, not that you asked, but I'm just saying, like, one of the things I love to do is to keep the base simple and use accessories to pop things. You know, like, because sometimes you'll, like, I find every time I buy something like really very busy, like I bought this floral dress by Farm Ria once, and I love it, but I can't accessorize it because there's so much busyness in that dress that that is the main event, and everything else has to stay very, very like in the background. And that's like music, really, when I think about it. There's always the main part, and then there's the accompaniment. All right, last thing, some good things that I picked up at the New Jersey Sheep and Wool. I didn't buy yarn. But what I did buy is buttons. Ugh. Guys, the buttons. So I think it's Ledoux or LaRue is the name of the vendor, and she's actually a local to me person, and I'm so happy to meet her. She had the most amazing button selection, and buttons are so hard to find, especially like vintage buttons. And so when you see them, you just grab them because you know you're going to need them at some point in life. So I just want to show you some of the goodies I got. So this is like kind of like an orange with rhinestones, and there's so many of them. Super cute. This one was so different. I couldn't pass up. Reminds me of like some kind of sunflowers or something. The gold inside. I mean, I could see that. I have a cardigan I started last year in this very amber gold color. Those would be so good on that. This is the first one I got. Like, sometimes you'll only find 3 buttons, but they tell such a story that you're like, okay, I'll figure out some way to make 3 work. Isn't that pretty? Love that one. Here is just a collection of black and white. They're all different motifs. What I love is that the size is all uniform, and you can have some great fun. So I already have something on my needles that this is going to be great for. I'm going to share that with you in a future episode. You can't have enough pink, right? And let's see, these, oh, huge tip. Okay, did you ever sew on buttons on your knit, cardigan, or whatever, and have them flop? I have this problem. I have dealt with this problem many times, and it drives me crazy. So I asked the lovely lady who sold me the buttons, I said, you know, I have this problem. They flop. What do I do? My buttons flop. I need support. She's like, exactly. You need a back button support. So that's the key. So you get a button, you need 2 buttons. You need the main button in front, and then you need a support button, usually the kind that come with like your regular dress shirts or something, in back. And so when you are pulling the thread through, you pull it through both holes, the main and the back support one. These are support buttons as well that like she said that you have to go around those 4 corners. I'm gonna figure that out, and that supports the main button. But isn't that a great tip? Probably everybody knows it, but I didn't. Look at this one, orangish. Isn't that fun? It's like a creamsicle color, more like reddish orange. There's a theme here. I'm sort of obsessed with orange and shades of orange. These, I love this almost holographic thing to it. And last but not least, these, oh, those are like so cool, very 70s looking. Yeah. So I got that. I'm set with the buttons. I'm set with buttons. Last but not least, I wanted to share 2 books I got. So I was in Barnes & Noble last night with Maia, and we got books, and she got, I forgot which books she got, and I saw there was a table where it was like buy one, get one half price, and they were all having to do with the topic of nature, animals, stuff like that, and I just couldn't resist. So I got this one called The Invention of Nature, Alexander von Humboldt's New World, and I have always been very curious about him. I don't know as much as I should, but I really think, you know, he was the most famous scientist of his age, and that was well, he was born in 1769, a visionary German naturalist and polymath. I learned that polymath means a person that's good at a lot of things, whose discoveries forever changed the way we understand the natural world. Among his most revolutionary ideas was a radical conception of nature as a complex and interconnected global force that does not exist for the use of humankind alone. Anyway, looks good. It's thick. Maia always laughs. Mara, you have so many books and you always get as far as page 14. Like, talk about UFOs. I am convinced I'm going to change that this year. And so here we go. This one is called Entangled Life. By the way, if you have any advice how I can do that, do let me know. Entangled Life, like how to finish what I start. Help me. Entangled Life, how fungi make our worlds, change our minds, and shape our futures. I always thought it was so cool the way that I've been listening to stories about mushrooms and how they communicate, and they have this like invisible network. Like, it's fascinating, the communication story. So yeah, so getting back to nature, back to basics, back to, you know, new things. And I wonder, how about you? Like, what is new on your plate with the new season? Any new plans, new projects, new energy towards new hobbies or new things that you want to discover or do or read? Let me know in the comments below. I'm so interested in knowing. And on that note, I wish you a wonderful beginning to the fall. I hope that you will subscribe to the newsletter to hear updates on what's happening coming up really soon, because there's quite a lot, and I hope that you'll be interested in it and, you know, just like to hear about it, and we can talk about it. And in the meantime, I wish you the most fantastic week, and sending you so much love and thanking you for this gift of being able to sit and share time together. It's truly something that I am so grateful for, is your time, and I send you much love, okay? See you soon. Bye.